How do I tell my wife that I don't want to move to US without sounding like an unsupportive husband? My M37 wife, F38, was recently offered a position at a major corporation in California. She's currently working as a chemical engineer in Dublin, earning a very competitive salary. The only catch, at least for my wife, is that there's little to no room for professional growth in her current job because she's already reached the highest position available in her department. A few months ago, she mentioned looking around for a new job as she was feeling really burnt out with her present role. As her husband, of course, I wholeheartedly supported her. She never really mentioned anything about US, or that she was even applying to a position in California. Now, ever since she received her offer a few days ago, she's been really happy and excited about possibly moving there. Despite my concerns, I've been very supportive because I did not want her to think that I'm not happy for her. Because I am. But I really don't want to move to US. My wife and I are originally from the Philippines. We have 2 little girls who were born here in Ireland. The eldest will be starting primary school this year, and I worry that if we ever move, she will have a hard time adjusting to a completely different country. In addition, with the current political climate, I'm scared that she might be bullied for being an immigrant. Not that it can't happen here, but the chances of it happening in US is more likely. Our parents also frequently visits us here from the Philippines, and they get to be present in our children's lives. But again, with its current political climate, if we move to US, it might be difficult for our parents to apply for a tourist visa and fly in to visit us. My wife is really happy, and it fills me with joy seeing how excited she is, especially after hearing her complain about how unfulfilling her current job is for months on end. But I honestly don't think moving our family to the United States is the move. How do I tell her this without sounding like an unsupportive husband?
Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You just need to tell her the reasons why you don't want to move to the US. She will find other opportunities. Commenter 3. I'm curious if she'd even be able to get a work visa right now. Personally, I wouldn't count on getting one for your whole family, and even if you did, it could get taken away without y'all even being notified first. Look up what's happening to foreign academics and students, it's not good. Then there's COL in California plus healthcare expenses, which will be a shock after living in Ireland. Realistically, this is the worst time possible to consider coming to the US, and you would be putting yourselves and your children in actual danger. ICE does not care if you're here legally, and due process is not guaranteed. Also, if either of you have posted anything political online that goes against the administration's policies in any way, you're not getting in, or you're getting deported without making it through customs. She needs to look elsewhere. You're not being unsupportive, you're being smart.
Update. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for all the advice on my previous post. I made that post at the break of dawn, and I think I was even half asleep, so I apologize for the lack of details. I didn't expect it to receive so many comments, and I can't reply to all of them, so I'm making a separate post to answer some of the common questions plus give some updates. The company she will be working for is in Sunnyvale, California. Her estimated first-year package is close to $500,000. They are offering to cover moving expenses for our family of 4, and once in California, we will have temporary housing for 60 days. She will also be given a $30,000 sign-on bonus. Both of these, the relocation assistance and sign-on bonus, is subject to a retention clause. I think she has to work for the company for at least 24 months, otherwise, she has to repay them. Her base salary is going to be $410,000. More than twice her current wage. Immigration-wise, the company will sponsor her H-1B visa, and PERM/green card sponsorship will be available after 24 months of employment. She will also have unlimited PTO, and health insurance will be 100% covered by her employer. Lastly, they are also offering her RSUs, vested for 4 years, and a 401k package. Currently, we earn just over €520,000 per year as engineers. I work remotely as a software engineer for a US-based company, but that arrangement may be impacted if we relocate to the United States, since I likely won't be permitted to work under an H-4 visa. We also fully own a 6-bedroom home in Dublin. Moving to California would mean going back to paying rent or taking on a mortgage again. We've also been to California several times before, and my wife loves the fact that it's home to many Filipinos. She says that she'd like for our kids to grow up around other Filipino kids. Plus, she's been away from the Philippines for so long. She did her PhD in Singapore for 5 years, and 2 years after that, we moved to Dublin. I think the idea of being around our own folks really makes the idea of moving to California more enticing. Anyway, I brought up my concerns to her today, and we've actually been discussing them since this morning. She seems genuinely intent on accepting the job. I asked her whether she's drawn to it because it truly excites her, or if she's just eager to escape her current role. As others mentioned in my previous post, what if we go through the stress of relocating to California, only for her to end up hating this job too? I told her that if her main reason is just wanting to leave her current position, she can just quit. In fact, I've been encouraging her to quit her job ever since she told me how burnt out she was last year. I had even suggested that we take a month off back in the Philippines to reset and help her recover before job hunting again. Hell, she can take a year off from working for all I care. I don't mind at all. She's incredibly accomplished, with an impressive resume. I truly don't think she'd have much trouble finding something new and more fulfilling, and is not in United States once she decides to work again. The only answer she could give me regarding my question was an I don't know. We've run the numbers and she believes that it's doable, even on a single income. After reading all the comments on my previous post, I'm convinced that even with a $400,000 annual salary, we will not be able to maintain the same lifestyle as we have in Dublin. We travel often, and our eldest does a lot of activities over the year such as sports and musical lessons. We're also planning to send her to a private school. I'm scared that if we try to continue living the same way as we did in Ireland, we'd run through our savings fast if we go this route. Thankfully, after showing her the news and what's been going on in US right now, plus the school shootings, she agreed that it might not be a good idea to go as a family. But now, she is insisting on going alone and flying back to Ireland on holidays or vacations to see us, or we fly to her. Honestly, I am really upset that she would even suggest this. Especially when our eldest is just about to start school. She'd be missing out on so much as a parent. I asked her what will be the long-term plan for us if she decides to go that path, because we can't realistically sustain a long-distance setup forever. I guess that struck a nerve. She snapped and told me that if I don't want her to take the job, I should just say so instead of pretending to support her while constantly trying to talk her out of it. I'm honestly so tired and upset. I'm really trying to keep a level head and meet her halfway, but I need her to do the same for me. She's usually very rational about things, so this current outburst plus the sudden urge to move to California confuses me so much. We're at a stalemate right now, but I fear that if she continues to insist on going to California on her own, I'd eventually just fold and agree to moving there as a family. I love my wife and my daughters and I really don't want them to be apart from each other. She has until the end of the month to decide, so I'm hoping she has a change of heart by then. Thank you all for your support, advice, and kind words.
Relevant comments. Commenter 1. So many of those benefits in her compensation package depend on 24+ months of employment. That alone is too much risk to move. If this job doesn't work out for any reason, you could be on the hook to repay this company a significant amount of money and be left in the lurch regarding visas and income. Even beyond all the other very valid social and political reasons to never step foot in the US, that alone would be enough for me. You have real stability right now. Don't sacrifice that for any reason. Commenter 2. I realize this is like the least important part, but I feel obligated to point out, just FYI, unlimited PTO in the US effectively means, it's on paper unlimited, but will guilt you and make you feel like you're not a team player and make you feel like you're taking too much and try to convince you to reschedule it. It's a setup designed to minimize how much PTO you actually take because you feel guilty and anxious about using too much. Edit, and as others have pointed out, can be a tactic to avoid you banking up any actual payable PTO. Likewise, free insurance doesn't mean free healthcare. The policy likely has a deductible and an out-of-pocket limit that need paid. You may be limited to in-network providers with an insurance company, or have much less coverage otherwise. Some services/drugs/ etc. may not be covered. Dental/vision coverage is separate, etc. This can be a real problem if you need a $100,000 surgery and your insurance decides you don't actually need it according to them. In seriousness though, your wife's insistence on moving, even at the cost of her family, is strong enough that I'd seriously wonder if there's a mental health component to this that needs to be addressed sooner than later. Would she be open to therapy? If I were in your shoes, I would be frank with her. Yes, you don't want her to take the job. Not because you're unsupportive, but because it's appending your family life for literally no benefit and some substantial risks. Her excuses for wanting to go, I want my kids to grow up near Filipino kids, don't hold up if her kids don't actually live there. I'd be clear, what she's proposing is, effectively, breaking up because you're not going to be in an LDR with your wife indefinitely, because that's crazy. You're not telling her she has to stay at a job she hates, although plenty of adults have to do that. You're not trying to restrict her career or movements. You are telling her it doesn't make sense to move to another country for no clear benefit and some real downsides. You're telling her she's a grown adult and parent and spouse now and can't just run off and live in another country and act like that's totally rational and going to work out and not going to hurt you and the kids. Commenter 3. There is a huge difference between being an unsupportive spouse and not supporting a particular major life-changing action. Her calling it unsupportive is really misleading and manipulative. Such major decisions in a family must be agreed upon by the adults, and her just insisting that she would go as far as doing it on her own and leaving her family tells me she is likely already checked out of the family. I have been in the high-tech industry in the US for over 40 years, most recently in executive roles in major companies and responsible for hiring hundreds of people. I almost certainly would know whatever company is making such an offer, and may have even worked there at one time. I personally have stayed away from the Bay Area even though I have had many offers to go there. I would highly recommend that she reconsider the offer unless you are also fully on board. I suspect she is merely looking at numbers and not fully considering the lifestyle change of what it means to live in the Bay Area. Frankly, you couldn't pay me enough to live there, and I have been there hundreds of times.